Can we have this camera focusing on all the audience? Because every now and then, every time we have a conference, every time we invite a speaker, they always can come with the same accusations. This speaker supports death penalty for homosexuals. This speaker supports death penalty for this crime or that. He is homophobic. They subjugate women, etc., etc., etc. It's the same old stuff coming all the time. And we always try to tell them, I always try to tell them that, look, it's not that speaker that we're inviting who has these extreme radical views, as you say. These are general views that every Muslim actually has. Every Muslim believes in these things. Just because they're not telling you about it, or just because they're not out there in the media, doesn't mean they don't believe in them. So I will ask you, everyone in the room, how many of you are normal Muslims? You're not extremists, you're not radical, just normal Sunni Muslims. Please raise your hands.
Keep an eye at the guys on the
Everybody,
guy in gray
mashallah.
shirt to the right lower part of the screen.
Okay, take down your hands again.
Yeah, sorry, I forgot to say that. But yes, look at the guy, like Nagesh said, just in case you didn't hear him. The guy on the right, front row, you'll see him in a gray shirt. Watch how he reacts.
How many of you agree that men and women should sit separate? Please raise your hands. Everyone agree. Everyone agree. Brothers and sisters. Subhanallah. So it's not just these radical sheikhs then. Allahu Akbar. Next question. How many of you agree that the punishments described in the Quran and the Sunnah, whether it is death, whether it is stoning for adultery, whatever it is, if it is from Allah and His Messenger, that is the best punishment ever possible for humankind. And that is what we should apply in the world. Who agrees with that? Allahu Akbar. Are you all radical extremists? Subhanallah. So all of you are saying that you are common Muslims, you all go to the different masajid in Norway, or are you like a specific sect, like the Islam net sect or anything like that? Are you like that? No. Are you like that? Please raise your hand if you're like this extreme Islam net sect or anything like that. No one. Allahu Akbar. How many of you just go to these normal masajids in Norway, the normal Sunni mosques? Please raise your hands. Allahu Akbar. So what's the politicians gonna say now? What's the media gonna say now? That we're all extremists? We're all radicals? We need to deport all of us from this country? Subhanallah. Allahu Akbar. Takbir! 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 May we have the next question, please?
Wow. Yeah, that
guy says Allahu Akbar as much as Live Life says, that being said.
We should start a drinking game.
I'd probably be drunk by the end of probably within like 10 minutes if I said that.
That being said.
Good. By the way, we might have to get Sean in here in like a little bit here, actually. We might have to finish up with like the third topic and everything else later on. So I'm conversing with him right now. So just keep on going. Go. We're good.
Don't worry about it. If we need to switch things around, we're all flexible, I think.
Yeah.
And I'll definitely cut mine short, especially compared to last time.
Take your time.
Now, the main thing that I see on that is, I mean, you've got one guy basically out of the entire crowd there of, let's say, I don't know, 100 or 200, whatever's there, that, in my opinion, was brave enough to sit there and say, you know what, this is bullshit. I think that this speaks as much to what happens to the average person under peer pressure as if they really believe that. I mean, I know Islamic people. I've been, around, and I can guarantee you that the vast majority I know, maybe they just happen to all be progressive, but the shit that guy was saying in private, I don't think they would be raising their hands to. I think that if it was a trusted friend, a lot more of those people would literally say no. But because they have, the rest of the herd is basically raising its hand, the sheeple are going to raise their hand because it doesn't hurt them to do it. Now, the problem with this is this is going to breed the extremists by making these extreme measures not seem extreme. And I think that's what he's trying to do here. He's trying to show that stoning people to death and blindly following a book because it says what it says is not an extreme attitude. It's normal. It's what everybody does. So if you have to kill an infidel like it says to do, then that's a normal action. It's not an extreme. So all of these extreme measures now all of a sudden become normal. And for the people who aren't smart enough and aren't brave enough, like that guy in the front row, to stand up and say, bullshit, I don't care what the book says, that's wrong, that's where you do get your suicide bombers. And that's where it's really scary, is normalizing these extreme measures. So that's all I really had on that. Matthew?
I'm reminded of the Magic Sandwich Show clip that Thunderfoot just put up recently on his channel of Matthew Bell, I believe it was, saying basically that he would, if he were in the place of the people in the Bible, he would have done the same and happily for anything he was commanded to do. And I think this is just a fundamental difference in worldviews where, let me say this, that I don't completely agree that most of the people in the audience were raising their hands as sort of peer pressure. I think that at least within the context of what this guy was saying, and keep in mind this is only a few minutes of the discussion they were having, a literal interpretation of the Quran is much more important to Muslims in Muslim countries and Muslim cultures than a literal interpretation of the Bible is in our culture, because
Absolutely.
we have separation of church and state.
Sorry, to add to your point, yeah, they say that there's no actual translation, that it has to be in Arabic.
Right.
I mean, that's how literal they are about it. So yeah, you're totally right about that. Anyway, sorry.
No, it's okay. That's a good point, and it's because we have forced a secular shift in Western culture that we have that separation. We have that independent system of analysis of ideas and even morality. We are using our own standards to evaluate them, and we're looking at the God of the Bible, for example, or Allah, and what is commanded in their holy texts, and saying, no, I would never do that because I care about other people, and we're using our own filter, our own reasonable system of the way that we deal with each other and applying that to the holy text. And I think that's what's being missed here, is that, as Matthew Bell showed us, if you strip away everything except the origin of morality coming from the holy text, then you strip away, in my opinion, humanity. You strip away all of the things that protect us from other people who might just have the most insane and dangerous worldview imaginable, thinking that like the lady that will kill her children because a voice told her to. And in my opinion, that sort of person who would do that because a voice told them to kill their children is no different than someone who said a burning bush told them to do whatever. Like they heard voices, they heard from a burning bush. It's not, to me, really any different. And it's if you refuse to employ skepticism in any way, when something like that comes up and you don't communicate that this happened, then you're living in a vacuum, and you're using nothing that even closely relates to rational thought to filter your behavior and your actions. And that's why it's so important to me that we, even if Islam becomes the most important religion in the United States someday, which is, it's a possibility. It could outgrow Christianity someday. We still always have to have that secular filter in place. And I'm very happy to see this discussion took place in a country where secular values and secular laws are still in power, because that sort of attitude is what's going to end up destroying the world someday if we're not careful.
No, I agree with both of you guys, but I'm going to expand on this again, of course, and I'm going to bring up a documentary I watched last night, and it's actually it's actually nominated for an Oscar, which was just released 2 days ago. This conference, I think, I don't know if any of you guys stated it, but I didn't hear it yet, is that the conference was held, what you guys just watched, it was held in Norway, not Yemen or Iraq or Iran, but in a secular country, Norway, as we know. I think it needs to be noted and talked about. There's no doubt that it seems like there's this Islamic expansion to secular countries. UK seen a big increase when it comes to the religion of Islam. We see the expansions to the secular countries. This should be very worrisome, especially when you watch a video like this. It should be. This expansion holds, at least the one that we saw here, this expansion would hold some kind of very extremist, fundamentalist view. It seems, of course we've seen, I should say. With that being said, I'm going to go on the other side of the spectrum, basically, there is people that are in the faith of Islam, that are Muslims, and I watched this documentary last night it was a really cool documentary. It's called The Square. If you guys don't know anything about it, please go watch it on Netflix. It gives you sort of a different view besides the major media outlets out there. It gives you, basically, you're with the people on ground, the revolutionists out there that are basically, what the movie's about, it's basically about the revolution that is ongoing now in Egypt since 2011, and it gives you that perspective of the revolutionists, the people that want... it's basically what it is. It's basically they want unity, the revolutionists over there, and it's all people, Muslims, Christians, they state, and even secularists, everyone. Okay, but you also got to, and then this, I'm not going to expand too much on, because I don't want to ruin the documentary or really hit you guys with too much. Is that you got the Muslim Brotherhood, and you got Morsi that was put into power last year. That was a big push by them. They were next to the revolutionists out there. Okay, so they both pushed to oust Mubarak. All right, so they got rid of him and they got rid of the army, but the Brotherhoods, got in there with a 51% vote, and they took over. That didn't last too long; it only lasted about a year. But what I want to really expand on that being said, is that my opinion is religion in general is dangerous. Islam is no doubt more dangerous at this point in history. We can see that. Can there be a coexistence, unity? I think so. Are we there yet? No, we're not there yet. Are we making progress in the world? I think so. Activists like us, the revolutionists in Egypt, and many of us, of course, you watching out there, can we create this unity? Yeah, I think we can. We don't need the fundamentalists, the religious that want to tear down the fabric of secular countries or to take away our freedoms. We don't want that, okay? This is what we have to combat, maybe in an intellectual way, type of way. We have to educate. I do strongly advise, in my opinion, not to entertain these types of fundamentalist or any kind of fundamentalist view, religious view. There is no debate whether they are right or wrong on certain issues. I don't think there is a discussion there, okay, especially when it comes to their extreme views. I don't think there's any kind of debate to be had, and we should just ignore those types of people. Educate the ones that want to be educated. I think they have an open mind, or they seem to have an open mind, that they look for a secular society. That's what they want. That's what their goal is. Especially in this documentary, you see this. It's ones, I guess, the ones that are for human solidarity, and not the ones that want to destroy the world or wait for its demise.